Please wait. Trainer activated. Activated.
From the vast reaches of the Mongolian steppe, an army of over 100,000 men swept aside all resistance, claiming territories that spanned continents. Their leader, Genghis Khan, proclaimed his life's ambition was to unite the world under one empire. Having conquered the East, the Mongols turned their attention to the West, where they would come face to face with some of the greatest armies of medieval Europe. Would Genghis Khan's legendary warriors finally meet their match? By 1221, the Mongols had taken cities throughout Asia, generating vast amounts of tribute from those they conquered. The West, however, was still an untapped resource. Genghis Khan sent his trusted generals, Jebei and Subutai, to attack Europe. With an army of 20,000, Jebei and Subutai took the West by surprise, raiding cities and destroying armies. Within 2 years, they had the prosperous Rus territories in their sights. But in their way was a Rus army of over 40,000 men. Outnumbered, Jebei and Subutai turned and started to head back east. The Rus sensed an easy victory and set off in pursuit of their retreating enemies. For 8 days, the fast-moving Mongols stayed just out of reach. Then, Jebei and Subutai set their trap. They lured the Rus across the Kalka River and turned to fight. The Rus had fallen for one of the Mongols' most effective tactics, the feigned retreat. The stage was set for the Mongol army to test themselves against Europe's finest. The Mongols charged across the European plains, with the fatigued Rus army in close pursuit. The Rus had fallen for the Mongol tactic of the feigned retreat, and unknowingly followed them into peril. The Mongol general sprung his trap on the enemy scouts. With the Rus scouts cut down, General Subutai crossed the Kalka River. Here, he would stage a full-scale ambush on the vast Rus army. Subutai directed his warriors to split up and lie in wait for the enemy. For Subutai's strategy to be effective, he needed to spring his trap before the Rus recovered from their long pursuit. He sent his most fearsome Mangadai horse archers to draw the Rus quickly towards the ambush site. These highly skilled warriors could fire their bows rapidly while riding at speed. The Mongol provocation was effective, and the Rus hastily pursued. The Rus army had fallen for the feigned retreat and rode straight into the Mongol ambush. With the enemy surrounded, Subutai's battle-ready warriors descended from all sides. The Mongol ambush was devastating, and Rus numbers were reduced to a few desperate stragglers. Seeing the fate of their comrades, the last Rus encircled themselves in a makeshift fort of baggage carts.
Mana jardiga болдугуга сугар саңырды тоң. Mana jardiga болдугуга жаатыксу арылдуга. О, айшкам. 소가 서그르도 통 요미요모 회유대 양기를 주가 요미요모 회유대
The Rus stockade fell. Despite a valiant last stand, the remnants of the Rus army were cut down. Spurred on by the crushing victory at the Kalka River, the Mongols advanced ever further into the heartland of the Rus. In the noise and confusion of battle, communications were vital. One solution was the use of message arrows.
Signal arrows could be used to send messages to your drone troops. Faster than a man, faster than a horse.
It was the quickest way to communicate in the heat of battle. Whistling arrows were blunt, and most importantly, they announced their arrival. But they weren't just used to pass written messages. When shot in a volley, whistling arrows could be loud enough to signal to a small group of warriors, telling them both where and when to attack. On hearing the sound, they would gallop in and strike where the arrows landed. However, a much louder sound was required to sound the retreat or to communicate to the whole army. That was the job of the war drums.
The Mongols also used gongs, and the combinations of drums and gongs gave the Mongols a wide array of signaling options.
We do not know the exact rhythms they used, but basic commands could be conveyed with different percussive patterns. They enabled the Mongols to communicate with their own forces and strike fear into the enemy. They were the heartbeat of the Mongol army. On the banks of the Kalka River, thousands of Rus were killed by the Mongols. The hunters had become the hunted. But in the years leading up to this Mongol raid in the west, Genghis Khan had been focusing his attacks on the east and the Qin dynasty of northern China. Controlling wealthy lands and trade routes, Qin cities overflowed with riches. In 1210, the Qin's new ruler, seeing Genghis Khan as a threat, demanded that he swear loyalty to him. Genghis Khan refused. To the Qin, this defiance was a declaration of war. The Qin had a huge army, and their territory was protected by vast fortifications, known today as the Great Wall. The Mongols had never faced a more formidable enemy. Genghis Khan knew the only way to defeat the Qin would be to take their heavily defended capital city, Zhongdu, on the other side of the Great Wall. Genghis Khan would be committing his people to a long, hard war. Would the rewards be worth the cost? For answers, he looked to the gods. Climbing a sacred mountain, he prayed to the eternal sky. After 4 days, he received his answer. The Mongols would be victorious. With divine reassurance, the Mongol army set out across the steppe. They must break through the Great Wall to destroy the Qin dynasty and further expand the Mongol Empire. The Qin fortress of Shangjaku blocked Genghis Khan's path to the Great Wall. Seeing the strength of the defenses at the front of the fortress, Genghis Khan dispatched his scouts to seek out an alternate approach. Mongol warfare relied heavily on the mobility of mounted scouts. They could travel at high speed, explore the terrain, and gather information on enemy weaknesses. The Khan's swift riders advanced up the steep mountain, discovering a hidden path above the Qin fortress. The Qin had deployed patrols on the mountain above their fortress, but the Mongol scouts, although isolated from their army, had the advantage of speed. The Mongol riders discovered an embankment leading to the back of the fortress. Here they found far fewer Qin defenses than at the front. Learning of the weak defenses at the back of the fortress, Genghis Khan saw his opportunity to attack. The Mongols began their ride to battle. If the Mongols took the fortress, they could freely advance on the Great Wall. The Mongols sacked the fortress of Shangjaku, ensuring that they would not be attacked from behind as they advanced on the Great Wall. The Mongols burned the enemy building, claiming valuable spoils from the ruins. With the Qin fortress posing no further threat, Genghis Khan called on his people to bring in their mobile camp. Next, the Mongols needed a base close to the Great Wall. They targeted the Qin village of Yangcheng.
네번 버스 엔지 게리그메 시트가
Hearing of the Mongol advance, nearby Qin villages began sending attacks, hoping to weaken Genghis Khan's army.
아힌 자리는 그 모두 거의 맞는다.
By destroying the Qin village, the Mongols had stopped the attacks from its garrison.
Юу хийх вэ? Түүнийг барьсуу.
Ажилд бэлэн. Би үүнийг бариад өгсөн.
Би энэ барь. Би үүнийг бариад өгсөн.
Танд юун хэрэгтэй вэ? Түүнийг барьсан. Сайхан бодчихгүй. Амар байна уу? Би зүтгэхэд байсан. Юу хийх вэ? Би зүтгэхэд байсан. Махтаа байна. Юу хийх вэ? Түүнийг барьсан. Махтаа байна. Амар байна уу? Юм бол хэрүүдээ. Жаридгаар болсон. Муу гоншхон. Санар. Оргууд бэл. Манайг харуулж байна. Удаандаг цаг болдог. Танд юун хэрэгтэй вэ? Би зүтгэхэд байсан. Ажилд бэлэн. Эдүгээ мөр бана жаргал болгодогоо. Жаргал ёсоор болсон. Харагдав. Юун хэрэгтэй бой? ягдгүйг хөдөл. Танд юм хэрэгтэй. Түүнийг барьсан. Суга баатаа эд хөдөлгөх гэж байна. Жаргал дагаж байна. Гоншхон. Юм хийх бой. Би зүтгэж байсан. Ярддаг ёсоор болгодуга. Ярддаг хэрэгтэй боо. Би үнийг бариад өгсөн. Харваста хангалтуга. Юм хэнүүтэй. Хөдөл. Юм хийх бой. Би үнийг бариад өгсөн. Урахгүй зарилэг хүлээж бай. Одсоо. Ярдгэрээ нүгэ. Танд юм хэ. Анда харуултуга. Сугаар сонирдотхон. Сайхан амар байна уу? Бана харгаж байна уу? Гоншхон. Жаа тэгсүү. Ойдон аруултуга. Хөдөл. Жаа тэгсүү. Ойдон аруултуга. Ярддаг ёсоор болсон. Төрдөг дүгэ. Ажил мэдээча би хийсүү. Түүнийг барьсан. Хоёр дөрөхгүй ярддаг ёсоор болсон. Дөрөхгүй зарилыг хүлээж бай. Дөрөхгүй оддгүй. Удардаг цаг ажил мэдээ. Би эдүгээ зэрэг ярддаг ёсоор болгосон. Ярдгэрээ нүгэ анхаар. Ярдгийг дагаж байна. Юу хийх бой? Түүнийг барьсан. Хадайсүй! Турамутун! Жаадиксу! Орход бэлдээд ажилд бэлэн. Бэлд өдөр бэл амар байна. Үүнийг юм хэнүүтэй. Баатаа эд хөдөлгөх гэж байна. Яг хэмгүй хөдөл. Танд юм хэрэгтэй. Би тэгээд байна. Уга жагдгаар болсон. Ясаар болсон. Идвэ. Яг хэмгүй хөдөл. Арбачд бэлтээд. Зарилыг буудгах уу? Юу хийж байна? Би үнийг асуу харвд байна. Энд юм хэрэгтэй бой. Би үнийг бариад өгсөн. Бана ёсоор болсон. Хөдөл. Гэж байна. Гоншхон. Бахтай байна. Амар байна уу? Түүнийг барьсан. Эдүгээ зэрэг ажилт бэлэн би зүтгээд байж бэлэн. Угаар сонирдот хуу. Яг бимгүй хөдөл. Юм хийх бой. Би зүтгээд байсан. Юм уу гоншхон. Ясаар болсон. ажил бэлэг. За би сүү. Ойкоо бэлэг амар байна уу? Түүнийг барьсан. Охгоо тарих гэж байна. Танд юу хэрэгтэй бол? Юу хийх бол? Ярдгэрээ нүгэ анхан. Ажил бэлэг. Би үүнийг бариад өгсөн. Өдөр хөдөлсөн. Гинтээ атсан. Би үүнийг бариад мана бэлтгэл яах гэсэн. Ардаа харуулгаа.
Yanchong fell to the Mongols, and nothing now stood between Genghis Khan and the Great Wall. It was time to face the Qin head-on at the Great Mountain Pass at Juyong. In order for Genghis Khan's assault to go as planned, he would need to move his base closer to the Great Wall. Fortunately, the Mongols specialized in the construction of mobile camps and could easily pack their holdings and move to a new location.
Матч билэн.
Манайг харуулж байна.
Би үүнийг явган турхаг.
Би түүнийг барьнам.
Үүнийг марлгаа.
Учир ажил үл түүтнэм. Барьчихва. Барьчихва.
Гэрдгэрээ нүгэ анхаар. Хөдөл.
Баатта эд хөдлөх гэж байна. Би саацсан.
Юун хийх буй? Би зүтгэхэд байсан.
Сайхан болчихоо. Турхаг. Би түүнийг барьнам. Малбарын зүүн агсдгаа. Мана жадлаг болдгоо.
The warriors of the grassland stormed the Great Wall. The formidable barricade, thought insurmountable, finally bent to the will of Genghis Khan. The great keep at Juyong Pass burned to the ground, giving the Mongols a secure route into the heart of Qin territory. As pillars of smoke billowed from the mountain pass, Genghis Khan charged forward into new lands and on to his ultimate goal, the wealthy Qin capital of Zhongdu. The Mongol Empire was one of the largest the world had ever known. This couldn't have been achieved without the hardiness and endurance of the Mongol horse. The Mongol horse was the empire's main mode of transport. From the extreme heat of the Gobi Desert to the harsh sub-zero temperatures of Eastern Europe, it had to be adaptable to any type of condition. Professor Del Jaborgin is an expert on this breed.
The Mongolian steppe is very cold in winter and very hot in summer. So Mongolian horse has very thick coat and long hair and very hard hoofs.
Left untrimmed and unshod, their hooves are perfect for crossing all types of terrain. And by feeding themselves on what was naturally available from the land, the army was freed from carrying additional fodder on campaign.
In winter, it can paw off the snow and eat the grass underneath.
But it wasn't just their versatility that made them invaluable. It was also their ability to travel great distances quickly, made possible by a unique fifth gate. The fifth gate is an energy-efficient pace that enables the Mongol horse to travel at a steady speed for long periods of time. And the running style is almost bounce-free, meaning a warrior could endure longer rides and even sleep whilst on the move. Today's Mongolian crossbreeds still have this ability. But like any horse, carrying a person at speed couldn't be kept up indefinitely. This meant that before the horse became tired, the rider could switch to a fresh one.
When they train the horse, they just change it on the move from one saddle to another saddle.
By repeatedly switching horses, A mounted warrior could travel vast distances much faster than conventional armies. With their speed, adaptability, and endurance, the Mongol horse was the engine that drove the Mongol army to victory. Genghis Khan had successfully breached the Great Wall of China. He led his forces to the greatest prize in the East, the capital city of Zhongdu. He besieged the city, knowing that its inhabitants could not hold out forever. Bearing down on the gleaming capital of Zhongdu, Genghis Khan raised the Black Banner of War on his historic enemy, the Qin dynasty. To take the heavily garrisoned capital, the Mongols would have to starve its army by eliminating Chengdu's suppliers. But first, the Khan directed his warriors to raid Qin buildings and villages surrounding Chengdu. Word of the army's wealth would spread, compelling Mongol soldiers from the north to join the fight, seeking spoils of their own.
Алкинч. Тагч байна уу? Уст бутха.
Ёо хөдөл. Ядах юмгүй хөдөл. Ярдгаар болсон. Жаатэксүү. Ойдон оруултуга. Мани готчихгүй. Ярдгийг дагаж байна. Баатта эд хөдөлгөж байна.
Hearing of the Khan's successful raids, Mongol settlers and soldiers arrived to join his army. With his numbers steadily growing, the Khan turned his attention to the capital. He sought to starve Chengdu's army by cutting off its suppliers. The Mongols left the Shunyu market in ruins, ensuring the village could no longer send supplies to Chengdu. In destroying the supplying markets, the Mongols denied Chengdu critical supplies, leaving its garrison weakened.
Ажилд бэлэн. Би үүнийг байна.
Ярдгэрээ нүгэ анхаар. Яг юмгүй. Хөдөлж. Хараачихгүй. Сар болсон.
Ана харанам. Би үүнийг барь.
Бана, ярдг
Ушаад хүлээх үед бич. Яваарай. Их юм таа.
ярдг болова. Хөдөлж. Ясар болсон. Ой, дөрөв бэлэг. Ярдгийг дагваа.
Тугаан ууваш. Ие бэлдэцгээ. Эд явж баймгүй ба амар байлоо. Би үүнийг бариад өгсөв.
Юм бол
Анхаарахгүй баатаа.
Босхоо байлууга.
Манай зогсчихгүй. Хоёуг дурахгүй да. Бид очив.
Махтатгүй.
Хараачихгүй. Ярдгаар болсон.
Хөдөлгөөе. Бэлэн. Түүнийг барь.
Ушаад хүлээх үед бич. Яваарай. Их юм таа боллоо. Танд юм хэрэгтэй бой. Би зүтгээд байсан. Баатаа ушаад
Ярдгэрээ нүгэ анхаар. Жэрдгийг дагаж манай жэрдэг болдгоо. Яг тэгсэн. Хоёулаа харуулгаа.
Би энд байна. Би үнийг байна.
Анхан. Өчөж. Жэрдгээр болсон.
Ажил.
Та бушаад хүлээж байхгүй.
Genghis Khan's army struck down the trader that was headed to resupply Chengdu.
Юм бол хэнүүдэ.
For every trader killed, Chengdu lost several days' worth of supplies. The Mongols were systematically choking the city and starving its garrison.
Танд юу хийх вэ?
Хоёулаа жэргийг чуу айшгүй.
Юу хийх вэ? Би хийх байхгүй.
The market at Tongzhou was set aflame, and with it many vital supplies intended for the city. As the Mongols continued to sabotage the city's supplies, Chengdu's garrison grew weaker by the day. A Qin trader made it safely into the city and reported on the Mongols' numbers and movements. Chengdu would now allocate any military supplies it received to rallying counterattacks on the steppe invaders. With Chengdu well supplied and standing strong, it was still able to resist any direct Mongol attacks.
Ие бэлдэцгээ. Амар байна уу?
Хоёуг дургүй хэлдэг. Юм бол хэнүүдэ.
Genghis Khan unleashed the wrath of his Mongol warriors on the heart of the beleaguered city. With Chengdu devastated by starvation, the walls of the great Qin capital were devoid of soldiers, and only a diminished garrison remained. Desperate and isolated, Chengdu could no longer resist. The time had come for Genghis Khan to launch his assault on the city. Without hesitation, the Khan's warriors put their torches to the market at Darsing, snuffing out weeks of Chengdu's supplies.
Танд юу хийх вэ? Би юу гэж байна?
Ие бэлдэцгээ.
Хэрэг мөшдөгөө.
За, ариу. Амар байна уу? Хэд байсан?
Буудаар гэдэг. Аюул байна.
Би энэ цаг ширээдгүй. Түүнийг барьсуу. Ширээдгүй.
Юу хийх вэ?
Ой, торхоо бэдэг. Мана, жэрдэг болдгоо. 보관시방.
In raising the market at Fangshen, the Mongols had severed a critical supply line to the capital.
야택스 알당 아로토가
Анхаарахгүй баатта. Энд явж байгаагүй баатта. Ажилд бэлэн. Түүнийг барьсан. Тастапта. Эйгдва агуудаачин. Одгомж энд явж байгаагүй баатта. Яваарай. Хийх юм тавууллаа.
소가 서글었고 자리가 없어. 자리가 서로 없어.
Танд юм хэрэгтэйгүй?
Аюултай шүнүгэ.
Эвэнэм. Би зүтгэж байсан. Сайн ажил. Ажилд бэлэн. Түүнийг барьсан. Сайхан ажил. Танд юм хэрэгтэйгүй?
юм хэнүүдэ. Яадаг юмгүй. Ушаад мана 자리가 болдог ба. Ясаар болгосон. 자리가 дагаж байна.
Амар байна уу?
소가 서늘도 통. 비사소. 야백소. 안당 비사소. 다 요구시하고 있어.
Зэрэг ном бидээ. Юу хийх вэ? Ажилд бэлэн. Би үнийг бариад өгсөв. Сайхан болчихгүй. Танд юм хэрэггүй. Мөсөө самбалгаа. Жарлиг ёсоор болгосон. Юу хийх вэ? Арбач бэлэг. Би үнийг бариад өгсөв.
Юм хэмээн жарлиг бод.
Эдүгээ зарлиг хүлээ юу?
Балбарын зууд агсдгаа.
Урахгүй зарлигийг хүлээж бай.
Genghis Khan unleashed the wrath of his Mongol warriors on the heart of the beleaguered city. With Chengdu devastated by starvation, the walls of the great Qin capital were devoid of soldiers, and only a diminished garrison remained. Desperate and isolated, Chengdu could no longer resist. The time had come for Genghis Khan to launch his assault on the city. Without hesitation, the Khan's warriors put their torches to the market of Dar Sing, snuffing out weeks of Chengdu's supplies. In razing the market at Fangshen, the Mongols had severed a critical supply line to the capital.
Юу хэлдэг вэ? Би ч үтгээд байсан. Айхан бодчихоо. Яг юу вэ?
Манай жажиг. Жантгэрээ нүгэ анхан.
Deactivate failed. Please wait. Trainer activated. Activated.
Genghis Khan unleashed the wrath of his Mongol warriors on the heart of the beleaguered city. With Chengdu devastated by starvation, the walls of the great Qin capital were devoid of soldiers, and only a diminished garrison remained. Desperate and isolated, Chengdu could no longer resist. The time had come for Genghis Khan to launch his assault on the city. Without hesitation, the Khan's warriors put their torches to the market at Darsing, snuffing out weeks of Chengdu's supplies. The Great Qin Monument was put to flame. Mongol victory was within reach. The city was ready to fall in the wake of the destruction wrought by the Mongols. In raising the market at Fangshen, the Mongols had severed a critical supply line to the capital. Chengdu fell to the wrath of Genghis Khan's warriors, yielding great riches for the Mongol Empire. the sacking of Jeongdu would be remembered as one of Genghis Khan's most devastating victories. But this was just the beginning of his quest to create a global empire under Mongol rule. Genghis Khan had successfully The Mongols were famed for their archers, and at the heart of their success was the clever engineering of the Mongol bow. The Mongol bow was part of a family of bows. Different cultures made these in varying shapes, but they were all made of the same materials. They were all composite bows, assembled from several parts. Lucas Novotny is a world-class horse archer and a master composite bow maker.
Here we have a wooden core. That's what we begin with. The core is basically the invisible part of the bow. All we see in a bow is always the flesh. However, we never see the skeleton. Just like in a human, we know it's there.
The wooden parts are fitted together with precision joints, giving the bow its distinctive shape.
Okay. Now, we have the tips. They go in like so.
These tips of the bow are non-bending. They act as levers that allow you to draw a much stronger bow than you normally would be able to. It's a genius bit of engineering.
The next stage in assembling the composite materials is to laminate the wooden core with strips of horn. A tool called a tendiek ensures that even pressure is applied to the glued surfaces.
That's a lot of pressure. I have to work to really kind of keep this in place.
Horn resists compression and stores energy. It is the muscles of the bow. The bowmaker then applies the sinew. This is dried animal tendons that have been pounded and shredded to produce fine fibers of considerable tensile strength. Bundles of combed sinew are moistened with water, then soaked in glue made from the swim bladders of fish. The sinew is applied carefully, layer by layer. One medieval text states that all of the skill lies in the laying of the sinew.
You have to really be quick with your hands. You have to make sure the fibers are straight.
Keeping the sinew straight is essential. If the limbs are not perfectly true, the bow risks twisting in action.
A finished Mongol bow is usually covered with leather or birch bark to protect it from the elements. But the horn is exposed. That is where the power is.
In the hands of highly skilled mobile horse archers, the Mongol bow became one of the most legendary weapons in history.